All right, so as we've discussed, quite often there are always multiple ways of interpreting the uh, the space-time travel communication coordinate system, and those multiple ways involve, the ways that these numbers of views can be lumped into, or grouped rather, not lumped. I mean, lumped has a particular meaning and grouped has a particular other meaning, and that was really an error in my selection of my word choice. But oh, and another thing, this had views before, so there is a certain amount of either algorithmic or intentional cheating, going on, which I had made a project proposal to, desist in the cheating. But beyond that, I mean, if the way that I want to group this set is correct, it's actually interesting response and perhaps a question, and so I'll answer it in my own strange way. But as always, this could be 5, and then the 0 could represent either 50, or it could just represent a place marker, and so 5, 4. And that could, be 5, 4. In other words, the fifth playlist and the fourth song in that playlist, or perhaps the 42nd song in that playlist, and that could either be 5, which I believe is the playlist for Burning Spear, which would be somewhat appropriate, or it could be 5 in the simple space-time coordinate system, which is, let me go check that because I'm not even really sure what that is. Let's go ahead and bring it up. This is the selection actually that I'm going to make, but I'll make that later. So 5 in the simple set would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be Adele, and then the 0, 4. Yeah, actually, did I say that we could, in the set, designate 2? Well, with the 0, you can't really designate 2 because the place marker indicates that you have to have 4. So 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't you remember? And in the complex set, 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Reggae physician. That's not too bad either. Don't you remember? It seems less significant in a certain way. Or you could have 50 with the 0 representing an addition to the 5, and that would give you something else. But the one that I really like, because I think it's a question, and I think it's a question. What I really think it is it's a request asking me what my opinion is. All right, and okay, so I'm reading. I want to designate the numbers as 5, 0, 4. All right, and so that set represents the group, and it can only designate a group in the 360 because we go beyond 40 if we go to the complex set. So in the simple set, right, because we loop at 360, this gives us 360 plus 360 plus 40, right, is 400, and then 400 plus, is 40. Well, let me go back. It's 400, right? So, but we're at 40 if we. I'll start over. 504 minus 360 equals 144, which is there's only one item in that set, and it's the Kennedy Center Honors Award, and Hart, and the honor was given to Led Zeppelin, and it's Hart performing that particular song, and if we go to, the line is and she's buying a Stairway to Heaven. But if we go 24, and we think of this as the 24th line in this song, it gets translated generally as, okay, so the line preceding it is, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean, and as in one does spring cleaning for the May Queen. And so I was thinking, okay, and and when I say this is the way it generally gets read or translated, from the verbal English into the textual English, this is what's, largely online, spring clean. Well, the only thing that makes sense in this context, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen, all right? The only thing that makes sense is that, someone owns this property, and there's a bustle in the hedgerow because they have a gardening staff that's big enough so that the owner of this property doesn't even know what's going on, because this individual is startled by the fact that something's going on in the bushes. So they didn't hire someone on a particular date, right, to do this gardening spring clean, but rather maybe they have a head gardener and a full-on staff, and there's so much gardening to do. The owner of this property doesn't really have any idea what's going on. So there was a bustle, perhaps because part of the spring cleaning, labor, right, involves, trimming the hedgerow, and this property owner that apparently, has so many other things to do isn't even aware, like that the gardening staff's spring cleaning involves, trimming this bush and cleaning things up for the oncoming season. And I suppose that's a possible reading, but some of us, not having internet and growing up and listening to this song for years and years and years, always perceived it as it's just a sprinkling, as in light rain, as in gift given by the rainmaker for the May Queen. And I guess, if I were to read this, set of coordinates as the question, well, which one do you think it is? Well, my response would be, I would return another question. Well, which one is cooler? That, you're so distracted by the world that you're unaware what your gardener is doing on this particular day in the spring that precedes May Day, and it could be both, I suppose. That the ambivalence there, if it is both, it's very clever. But the alternative is to imagine that nature itself, right, is responding, right, to the May Day celebrations and blessing the May Queen with this light shower. And if I had to choose, right, and it wasn't just an either or, and it could possibly be an and or, I would choose the one that I've been thinking of from the time that I was a 13-year-old boy. I would choose the one that reads, it's just a sprinkling for the May Queen, because it adds a certain kind of mystical and pantheistic, right? And that pantheistic and nature worshiping impulse, for a reading, is already there in the terms of the song. And so I guess that's my answer, if it was a question. If it wasn't a question, I guess it was just a long ramble.